What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the OAP podcast brought to you by your host, Brandon. As you can tell, if you're watching this on video, if you're on Spotify and you're just listening to it, you can also watch this. But we've had a completely new setup. Not really, just like different. We moved things around, if that makes sense. Um, and if you're on YouTube, you're kind of looking at it now. We have the sign here, which I didn't turn on, but I'll turn it on right now, actually. There we go. Um, so yeah, we have a new seating arrangement. Um, and I'm just gonna kind of talk to you guys a little bit about changes. Uh, it's been a while since we uploaded our last podcast episode. It's been a few months, to be honest, and um, I'm just gonna get real with you guys and honest about things, and yeah, we're gonna talk about it. So a lot of changes happen in our personal lives that I really don't want to talk about. It's not something that I want to go into. Not for any bad reason at all. It's just some things that you just kind of keep to yourself and to your loved ones. So yeah, some of that stuff happened where we uh, we had some changes in our life for the better. Um, as you can see, Jackie's not joining me. Um, and that's because, how can I explain this? She's doing her own thing. We came to an agreement on that. Yeah, and that was kind of it, essentially. We talked about it and we decided that it was best. Um, and yeah, that was it. That's it. Nothing else, nothing bad. She's just doing her own thing, which is awesome, by the way. Some of you guys may find out what she's doing or may know later on, and yeah, it's pretty badass, to be honest. What else? Well, since last time I started vlogging, the OAP podcast channel kind of became the OAP channel for different type of content now, and I started vlogging, and some of the vlogs have done really well, and that's been fun. I've been trying to get the hang of it, and yeah, it's been good. Uh, and that's kind of it, right? But essentially, guys, and I know I'm gonna keep saying essentially. I'm trying not to say that word so much, but really, what happened was that the last time that we recorded an episode, I at least, and I can really only speak for myself here, I felt mentally and emotionally like I just wasn't here presently, and I wasn't here present in the present. I was just in a hole. I was in a really really dark hole as far as my mental health goes, and kind of my overall self esteem and things like that. And we try to make the podcast work, but when you just when you're not there, it's really hard to make anything work. And that just doesn't go for the podcast. That also goes for work. That also goes for relationships. Goes for really anything. So, um, yeah, it was a time where I felt like I didn't want to do anything at all anymore. And I kind of this past year, guys, it was just one of those things where I felt like I had no drive to do anything. I don't know what happened as far as why my mental health went down so bad. I have an idea. Um, Let me take my keys out. Sorry, guys. I have an idea of what happened. Of what could have gone wrong, but I think that we all, in our lives at some point go through a stretch of time where you just kind of aren't you. And that was me, really, for all last year. I felt like I was, and to keep it in the podcast world, I guess, I felt like the year that we started the podcast, it went so well. Everything was going so well. We were, seeing results. We were having guests all the time. You guys saw this, we were having a lot of fun with it. And We went from that to doing the our solo thing, which just included me and Jackie and that started doing really well too. And we just kind of had this whole thing going right. And that was kind of at the start of last year. And then I decided, to kind of pull the plug on that and do my own thing. And there are some episodes where it's just kind of me alone on my desk talking, not really knowing where the podcast was going or what it was about, just kind of reading headlines, I guess. Didn't really have any effort or meaning behind it. Because I thought that by doing the type of content that I watch would maybe get me somewhere, if that makes sense. Um, I thought that by me doing the type of content that everyone else was doing was the way to do it. And from then, it just kind of fell off. Like everything just fell off. And I realized that I made a mistake. I realized that not everyone or not following what everyone else is doing and trying to replicate that is not the way to do something, right? You're not going to get anywhere like that. And I realized that later in that year, last year. And then we had Jackie come back in and we started some episodes and whatnot. And then, like I said, that's kind of where I really felt that I was at my lowest because I wasn't there. You know, I wasn't there mentally and I wasn't there physically at all. I mean, I was there physically, but you know what I mean? I kind of let myself go in all aspects of my life. I let my health go. I started eating like shit. I still am eating like shit, to be honest. But then I was like eating like shit. Like it was bad. Uh, and I don't know. I just kind of went down this dark hole. So I don't want to make it too complicated on you guys. So then, um, I figured that I wanted to start vlogging. And I said to myself, maybe by doing something different, it would spark that and or ignite that curiosity and that drive to adapt and learn this new content style, right? And it worked, right? It worked for what it was meant to work for, if that makes sense. Um, I started vlogging, started figuring out that the vlogging editing process was so much more complex and different than the podcast editing process. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed vlogging. So then, we made an investment towards that, and we bought the DJI Action 5, and that's what we've been using to vlog, and that's what I've been using, and it's been great. And year ends and whatnot. Coming into this year, I've realized that I let the whole last year pass like it was bad. I was like, I just kind of gave up, and I knew that and that I wanted to do something in the content world. I didn't know what, but I wanted to do something, still kind of keep doing what I was doing, vlogging. And I figured that I have all this podcast equipment. Why not put it to use? Why not do something with it? Even if it's not like what you guys were used to as far as me and Jackie goes, or as far as me and guest go, but to really put this equipment that I already bought to use, to really, do something with it. And kind of sat on that thought for a while. And then I figured, what type of content do I want to create? What type of content will not only keep me going, for my goals, but also be fun for me to do, even if I have to do it on the, on a solo style. And one day I was walking, and yeah, that's kind of what happened. I figured it out, guys. I figured that I wanted to do content for the podcast based on me working on myself, if that makes sense. You know, I figured that if I work on myself and I record podcasts talking about that progress and kind of what I was doing, and then talking about what really, the type of topics that really interest me, not the political stuff, not the current world news going on. Not that that's not interesting. It is very much interesting, but you know, I was really trying to figure out what I could talk about that wasn't what everyone else was talking about, or that um my son is asking for me, or that you know, you guys hear that knock? That's my son. He's very strong. But yeah, the type of content that I wanted to do that I could use even for myself to kind of keep going, you know? So yeah, we're in this new era of this podcast. I don't want to let this podcast die down. I don't want to let this podcast dissolve and go away and me stop doing it, because it came to a point where I was like, maybe I'll just put everything away and I'm done, you know? But something, when you're doing something, guys, and something inside tells you to just keep going, keep doing it. That was me. That's what I was feeling inside. Just figure it out, Brandon. Keep doing it. Keep going. Don't give up on it just yet. So, as I was taking my walk, I came back and I came and talked to Jackie, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do with the podcast. And by then we had already decided, that she was going to do her thing. And so I explained to her, I want to do this podcast on uh, personal progress. If that makes sense. Now, you may be asking yourself, what does that exactly mean? What does personal progress mean? And what personal progress to me means touching on all, topics of what personal progress takes. What does that mean to me? Mental health, reading, lessons learned throughout the week, even uh, obviously uh, your what you're eating, things like that, right? And just kind of reflecting, a lot of reflecting, obviously, things like that. So, what is this podcast going to be about, guys? Now, and some of you guys may like it, some of you guys may not, some of you guys may listen, some of you guys may not. That's okay. But I really want to dedicate my time in doing this podcast on me talking about mental health, what helps with that, what I've learned through years of therapy. I'm not saying that I know that I'm a know-it-all or that I'm an expert, but I've had my fair share, of time in therapy, and I mean, if you look at all these books, guys, all of them are a lot about mental health, literally. I mean, self-compassion, um, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Peak Mind, The Myth of Normal. You got I got a ton of books here based on mental health. Um, and I want to dedicate my time to learning myself more about that topic, you know, talking to you guys about it if that's something that interests you guys, but also bringing you guys along in this podcast style with my progress of where I'm at currently in life, where I want to get to, and bringing you guys along, you know. I think vlogging is great for that as well. You obviously, in some of the vlogs, you'll see me working out or whatever, but you guys don't see the behind the scenes, right? Quote unquote. And with the podcast, you guys can kind of see that behind the scenes. So yeah, that's what this podcast is going to be about now. Is that it's talking about those type of things. Obviously, I'm not going to freaking sit here and bullshit you guys and not do my work or not read articles coming out about mental health or things like that. Like, I want to make it a very much educational podcast. And if in the future, if possible, bring guests in who are successful in business in life and ask them about what type of mental toughness or what type of mentality do you have, or did you have to grow into to become the person who you are. Not only that, but also I want to talk about physical health, like how important it is. I went from weighing 2 years ago, right? Not last year, but the year before. I went from weighing 150. The lowest I've ever been in my life in high school was 132, right? And after high school, I maintained about 160. And last year, not the year before, but 2 years ago, I got a trainer, and I got down to 150, which was my lowest from since high school. And I was looking really good, feeling myself, feeling really good on every level. And just last year, guys, like I went up to one right now, like 189. So I let myself go, right? So now I need to work hard to bring that weight down to a good, healthy weight. And my goal is 150. I want to get 150, this year. And so bring you guys along with that too. Like some of the workouts that I'm doing, whatever. Like just talk about the overall wellness of a human being, right? Um, and really dedicate to those specific topics and other topics as well, trauma, things like that. Because I feel like when people say mental health, and like there's a lot of people out there that talk about mental health already, but I feel like, and I don't even really want to say, oh, it's going to be about mental health or things like that, because it's become such a like attention grabber type of wording. A lot of things that happen are blamed on mental health, whether it is actually mental health or it's just like a screen that they want to put in front, to make it seem like it's mental health when it's reality not. You guys get what I'm saying? So I don't want to just like be that person who just talks about that but doesn't do shit about it. You know, the goal is to talk about something and walk the walk, right, or whatever. Like actually do something. How hypocrite, or how do you say it? How much of a hypocrite would I be if I come to you guys and talk to you about some bullshit, you know, or not really bullshit, but you guys you know what I mean, on some mental health thing or whatever, and then behind doors I'm bullshitting around. That to me drives me crazy. Because if you're not about what you are or what you say you are, then what the hell, right? And that was me last year. And that pisses me off because I know I'm not that person. So that's the goal here. Um, the other goal is obviously to be consistent with this. I mean, how many times have I told you guys, oh, I'm going to be consistent. Oh, I'm going to be this. Oh, whatever times a week. Oh, this and that. Even with the vlogs, guys, right? If I'm not consistent, if I'm not putting out there content that I film or whatever, because I have vlogs, for example, that I've had for 2 weeks recorded that I just need to edit and put them out, and I don't do it. So if I'm not doing that, then what is all this about, right? I've learned, usually from what I've seen, in whatever career field that you choose to follow, whether it's starting a small business, starting, going to college, studying for something, YouTube, things like that. I've learned, and from what I've seen, again, not an expert here, but from what I've seen, 5 years it usually is what it takes. 3 to 5 years for really that little seed that you're watering every day. It takes about 5 years to grow into something. So obviously, if I want this whole deal to go somewhere, and I believe it can go somewhere, I need to water it with consistency. And how do I do that? Well, by putting goals on and actually doing it. And I don't mean like crazy goals like, oh, 1 million subscribers, not like, obviously that sounds amazing and I would want to do that. And if I can get there at one point in my life, then great. But even just starting with small goals, posting once a week, recording once or twice a week, reading my books, for God's sake, like if I'm going to be talking about mental health and I'm saying to you guys, I'm going to read this book and I'm going to talk to you guys about every chapter that I read, the one chapter I read that day I record is what I'll talk to you guys about a little bit and kind of go through what went in my head at the moment that I was reading that chapter. But if I don't read my book, then I can't do that, right? So it's like, even that is a goal. So yeah, by the way, currently book right now that I'm reading is Right Thing Right Now by Ryan Holiday. It's good values, good characters, good deeds. I've enjoyed it so far a lot. Actually, the chapter that I'm reading today is Do Your Job, which, funny enough, when I woke up this morning to go to the gym, I read this before I left this chapter, and it talks about don't be a person who just says you're going to do something and not do it. Do your job, whatever that is. If you have to go to work and do something that you might not like, you still have to go to work and do it, you know? Now, if you want to find something else, another job, then do that as well. But yeah, like that's the whole deal here, guys. And it's exciting in a way and it's terrifying in a way. I don't know how people are going to view this or accept this, or if I'm even going to get any listeners. It's for me starting all over again. Um, I don't have an Instagram anymore by choice. I decided that I needed a break from Instagram. You know, I was glued to my phone. I was glued to watching reels and bullshit on Instagram that really wasn't doing anything good for me. And I've been off Instagram for about 2 months now since I deleted my account. And not only deleted the freaking app, because people delete the app and it's easy to go back and download it. That happened to me. I can speak on that. And it's one of those things where you want to stop doing a bad habit, you have to kind of cut it off completely. And for me, the most extreme way to do that was by deleting my actual account, you know? And I deleted my account and, maybe I'll open a new one. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. Maybe I'll just keep the OAP and that's it, right? So I'll see. But if anything, I can keep on posting on the OAP one. And I have the OAP account, but I don't even go on Instagram, which is funny, right? You would think that I would, but I don't. So I needed to get off my phone because, man, last year it was horrendous. It was horrible going back and looking at the amount of time I spent on. Sorry, I'm keep freaking burping. I got this shout out to pick me up. I got this Mango Horizon monster thing drink. But yeah, I mean, looking back on how much time I wasted on Instagram is like, Jesus, dude, if you would have put that amount of time on a business or in a side hustle or something, you probably would have been in a better position now, but that wasn't me, right? And so I really want to take advantage of this year. I really want to change course here and do something with my life. I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I don't know. You tell me, right? Do you guys feel like that need to change your life, that internal desire to do something with life and create something, whatever that is, right? It doesn't have to be YouTube necessarily. It doesn't have to be a business. It can even just getting a different type of job, or I don't know, freaking buying clothes if that's a desire. I don't know. It can be something super small. Going to the gym. I mean, I went today, guys, to the gym. And for the first time in a very long time, and I've been to the gym a couple times in the past few months, but for the first time in a long time today, I felt like myself in the gym, I went to the gym a couple times, like I said, a few times in the past few months, and I didn't feel like I belonged there. I didn't feel like myself. And that's a horrible feeling, because if you feel like that and you go, obviously you don't want to go the next day. And I wouldn't go the next day. I became almost like a coward, like just, I don't know. I gave myself excuses. I didn't wake up in the mornings. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. And today, for the first time, I felt like I belonged there. And that's a great feeling. That makes me want to keep on going. So, and it makes me look for the future, forward for the future. It makes me look forward to tomorrow and going tomorrow. So, yeah, I just wanted to come back and kind of let you guys know where I was at, what I was doing, how I was, and, just kind of let you guys know that I am re-amplifying this podcast, restarting it, Hopefully you guys are good with that. Hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully you guys can share it. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. This is, you know, and some would even say don't apologize, but I do feel like I need to apologize because, I think that I was giving you guys a piece of content that you guys liked, and now it's changed once again, right? And so I'm sorry for that. I mean, shit happens. Shit hits the fan all the time, and it just happened. But with this one at least, I think I can control it in the aspect that if it doesn't happen, it's because I didn't want to make it happen, right? Um, and that will fall on me. So, anyways, just want to thank you guys for everything. I really do appreciate those who keep following the Instagram page, who haven't unfollowed. I want to shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys for that. Those who have seen the vlogs and are still subscribed to our YouTube channel, shout out to you guys. Those who are coming in, guys, if you guys are new, shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys. Hopefully you guys like it, Um, and I just, want to encourage you all that, we are towards the end of March here. And if you guys still, or not still, but if you guys want to do something this year, I encourage you guys to go for it. And I will for sure. So thank you guys for everything. Make sure you guys subscribe, share, like. We're available on all platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. And I just want to say thank you. Share with your friends if you find this podcast to be of knowledge, or something that you enjoyed listening to. Make sure you guys share it. And for now, guys, that's kind of it. I know this kind of was everywhere, but I truly appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.